Have you ever wondered about the moments in history that echo through centuries, shaping cultures and beliefs in ways we can still feel today? One such event is the Battle of Karbala, a story of defiance, principle, and profound sacrifice that unfolded over 1,300 years ago. It's not just a historical account, it's a deeply human drama that continues to inspire millions around the world. So, let's travel back to the 7th century, to the scorching plains of what is now modern-day Iraq, to understand what happened to Karbala and why it remains so significant. Our story begins in 680 AD. The vast Islamic Caliphate, stretching from North Africa to Persia, was facing a crisis of leadership. After the death of Muawiyah, the founder of the Umayyad dynasty, his son Yazid ascended to the caliphate. This was a controversial move. Traditionally, the leader of the Muslim community was chosen through consensus or council, not by hereditary succession. Yazid's claim to power was immediately met with resistance, particularly from one prominent figure, Husayn ibn Ali. Who was Husayn? He was the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad. For many Muslims, Husayn represented a direct link to the foundational principles of Islam: justice, compassion, and piety. He was a respected figure, known for his integrity and his commitment to the community's well-being. When Yazid demanded that Husayn pledge allegiance, or bay'ah, to him, Husayn was faced with a monumental choice. Accepting Yazid would mean legitimizing a ruler many saw as unjust and a leadership style that deviated from the Prophet's teachings. Refusing would mean open defiance and certain conflict. Husayn believed that Yazid's rule was a corruption of Islamic ideals. He saw it as a turn towards tyranny and a departure from the spiritual and ethical core of the faith. Therefore, he could not, in good conscience, pledge his loyalty. Instead of staying in Medina where he was under pressure, Husayn decided to travel to Kufa, a city in modern-day Iraq. He had received numerous letters from the people of Kufa, pleading with him to come and lead them, promising their unwavering support against Yazid. And so, Husayn embarked on his fateful journey. He wasn't traveling with an army prepared for war. He was accompanied by his family, his wives, his children, including his infant son, Abdullah, his sisters, and a small, loyal band of around 72 companions. This was not the march of a conqueror. It was the journey of a leader answering what he believed to be the call of his people, hoping for a peaceful resolution and a restoration of just leadership. However, the political landscape had shifted dramatically. As Husayn and his small caravan made their way towards Kufa, Yazid moved quickly to crush the rebellion. He dispatched a massive army, numbering in the thousands, under the command of Umar ibn Saud. The people of Kufa, who had so eagerly invited Husayn, were intimidated into submission by Yazid's ruthless governor. The promises of support evaporated, leaving Husayn and his small group isolated. On the 2nd day of the month of Muharram, Husayn's caravan was intercepted and forced to make camp in the barren desert of Karbala. They were surrounded. Yazid's army cut off their access to the Euphrates River, their only source of water. 4 days, under the blistering desert sun, Husayn, his family, and his companions endured extreme thirst and hunger. The cries of the children for water echoed through the camp, a heart-wrenching sound that underscored the cruelty of their situation. Despite the dire circumstances, negotiations took place. Husayn made it clear he did not seek war. He proposed several options. Allow him to return to where he came from, let him go to a distant frontier to live a quiet life, or even allow him to speak with Yazid directly. But the commanders of Yazid's army had strict orders. Husayn must surrender and pledge allegiance, or face the consequences. For Husayn, surrendering was not an option. It would mean betraying everything he stood for. He chose to stand his ground, to defend his principles, even if it meant certain death. On the night before the battle, the 9th of Muharram, Husayn gathered his companions. He extinguished the lamps and told them they were free to leave under the cover of darkness. He knew the enemy wanted only him, and he did not want anyone to feel obligated to die for his cause. But not a single person left. Their loyalty was absolute. They declared they would rather face death 1,000 times over than abandon him. It was a powerful testament to the love and respect they held for Husayn and the principles he embodied. The next day, the 10th of Muharram, known as the Day of Ashura, the battle began. It was not a battle of equals. It was a massacre. Husayn's 72 companions, one by one, went out to face an army of thousands. They fought with incredible bravery, defending their leader and their beliefs to the very end. Husayn's family members, including his sons and nephews, also joined the fight and fell as martyrs. One of the most tragic moments was the death of Husayn's 6-month-old son, Ali. Holding the thirsty infant aloft, Husayn pleaded with the opposing army to give the baby some water. The response was an arrow that struck the child, killing him in his father's arms. This moment, above all, has symbolized the sheer brutality and heartlessness of the events at Karbala. Finally, wounded and exhausted, Husayn himself went into battle. He fought valiantly until he was overcome by his numerous injuries and fell. After his death, the tragedy did not end. The camp was looted, and the surviving women and children, including Husayn's sister Zainab and his ill son Ali Zayn al-Abidin, were taken as captives. They were paraded to Kufa and then to Damascus, the capital of the Umayyad Caliphate, in a humiliating procession. But even in captivity, the spirit of resistance lived on through Zainab, Husayn's sister. In the court of Yazid, she delivered a powerful and defiant speech, condemning his tyranny and ensuring that the story of Karbala would not be silenced. She became the voice of the martyrs, broadcasting their message of justice and sacrifice to the world. So, why does the story of Karbala still resonate so deeply today? It's a timeless tale of standing up against oppression, of choosing principle over power, and of making the ultimate sacrifice for one's beliefs. For millions of Shia Muslims, the annual commemoration of Muharram is a time of intense mourning and reflection. It is a period to remember the suffering of Husayn and his family and to reaffirm their commitment to the values he died for: justice, dignity, and resistance to tyranny. But the message of Karbala transcends religious boundaries. It has inspired countless movements for social justice and freedom across the world. It is a universal story that reminds us of the power of a small group of determined individuals to challenge an oppressive system, not with the hope of immediate victory, but with the conviction that their stand will inspire future generations. The stand at Karbala was not about winning a battle. It was about winning the war of ideas. Husayn knew he would be physically defeated, but he also knew that his sacrifice would ignite a moral conscience that could never be extinguished. And in that, he was victorious. His story serves as a powerful reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, standing for what is right is a victory in itself. Thank you for joining me on this journey back in time. The story of Karbala is a profound part of our shared human history. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the events that have shaped our world. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time.